Control and Coordination, Chapter 6. Exercises. Question answers begins here. Question number 1. Which of the following is a plant hormone? Insulin, thyroxine, estrogen, cytokinin. Answer D is correct, cytokinin. Question number 2. The gap between two neurons is called dendrite, synapse, axon, impulse. Correct answer is B, synapse. Question 3. The brain is responsible for thinking, regulating the heartbeat, balancing the body, all of the above. Correct answer is D, all of the above. Question number 4. What is the function of receptors in our body? Think of the situation where the receptors do not work properly. What problems are likely to arise? Answer 4 begins. In our body, there are some special cells which receive the various type of stimuli happens in external environment called receptors or sense organs. The receptor organs receive the stimulus and then through sensory nerves sent to central nervous system. We detect smell by olfactory receptors, detect taste by gustatory receptors, detect touch by touch receptors, detect sound and balance by phonoreceptors. If receptors do not work properly, then above sense cannot be received and sometimes odd condition may develop. For example, on touching to hot object, if stimulus of heat not received by central nervous system through sense organs, then hand may burn. In normal condition, due to reflex action on touching to hot object, the stimulus of temperature reach to spinal cord through sensory nerves and sent to functional muscles by motor nerves. On contraction of functional muscles, the hand moves from hot object. Question number 5. Draw the structure of neuron and explain its function. Nerve cell. It is the basic unit of transmit of messages. It is specially long. This information acquired at the end of dendrite tip of a nerve cell sets off a chemical reaction that creates an electric impulse. This impulse travels from the dendrite to the cell body and then along the axon to its end. At the end of the axon, the electrical impulse sets off the release of some chemicals. These chemicals cross the gap or synapse and start a similar electrical impulse in the dendrite of the next neuron. A similar synapse finally allows delivery of such impulses from neurons to other cells such as muscle cells or gland. In this way, any nerve cell is not directly connected to other nerve cell. There is some empty space between it in which there is a lot of impulse. This is called synapse. Functions of neurons. This is very important function they may ask in exam. First is it conducts stimuli from sensory organs to the spinal cord or brain. Second, these cells are specific for stimuli or for conducting information via electric impulses. Third, activities are controlled and regulated immediately by neural control. Fourth point is it transmits the response very quickly to the executive part of the spinal cord or brain. And this diagram of neuron is very, very important, and you have to draw this diagram in the end. With this, answer 5 is completed. Question number 6 begins. How does phototropism occur in plants? Phototropism, movement of plant stem towards the light, is known as phototropism. Shoot systems show positive phototropism and root negative phototropism. When growing plant detect light, a hormone called auxin synthesized at the shoot tip helps the cell to grow longer. When light is coming from one side of the plant, auxin diffuses towards the shady side of the shoot. This concentration of auxin stimulates the cell to grow longer on the side of the shoot which is away from light. Thus, plant appears to bend towards light. Question 7. Which signals will be disrupted in case of a spinal cord injury? Answer 7. On injury of spinal cord, there will be disruption in getting the following indications. First, there will be disruption in providing the way for sensory impulses towards brain. Second, there will be disruption in providing the way for motor impulses from brain. Third, disruption in conducting and regulating such reflex action in which brain is not related. Question number 8. How does chemical coordination occur in the plants? Answer 8. Plants' chemical coordination takes place by hormones. There are secretion of different hormones by stimulus cells in plants. Different plant hormones help to coordinate growth, development, and responses to environment. They are synthesized at places away from where they act and simply diffuse to the area of action. For example, plant hormones synthesized at apical part of the plant reach the different parts and develop cell enlargement, apical dominance, and in the growth of roots. Cytokinin hormone promote the cell division. Herbaceous acid is the hormone which inhibits the growth. It increases the rate of leaf fall in autumn season. Methylene help in ripening of fruits. Question 9. What is the need for a system of control and coordination in the organism? The body of the organism is made up of cells. These cells makes group and differentiated into tissues. Different tissues combine to form organs. Different organs perform their own work in right time so they can work efficiently. Thus, there should be some type of control on them so that they can work coordinately. For example, when we eat food, then our eyes see that where the food is kept. Nose detect the smell of food. Our hand take food and bring into mouth. And our muscles of jaw and with the help of teeth, food is chewed. All activities takes place with a coordination method. And out of these, any activity due to some reason not take place, then interruption occur in nutrition process. So, in organism, there is need of control and coordination system. Question number 10. How are involuntary action and the reflex actions different from each other? Differences in involuntary and reflex actions. First, form a table. Write down serial number, involuntary action, reflex action. And 7 points are there for both the side. First point for involuntary actions. They are controlled by midbrain and hindbrain. These activities are controlled by central nervous system. They did not happen suddenly. Sometimes there is a gap in between stimulus and response. They quickly happen, that is, no gap in between them. It takes place by smooth muscles. It takes place by voluntary muscles and glands. These are not affected by external barriers. They may be conditioned. It occurs in internal organ of the body. It is controlled externally and from the injured site. For example, activity of heart. And here the example is on pricking the needle, pulling the hand. Number 11. Compare and contrast nervous and hormonal mechanism for control and coordination in animals. Comparison and contrast nervous and hormonal mechanism for control and coordination in animal as under. Form a table, one side serial number, nervous mechanism and hormonal mechanism. 7 point each side. First is, this central nervous system consists of a nerve impulses between the peripheral nervous system. It is caused by hormones secreted by endocrine glands. It has very short response time. It has long response time. Neural impulses are not specialized in function. Each hormone has a specific function. The flow of information in it is very fast. The flow of information in it is very slow. The emergence of a neural impulse depends on the presence of stimulation. The secretion of hormone is regulated by the feedback mechanism. This control of growth and development is less. This system controls growth and development. Sensory receptors present, sensory receptors absent. Question number 12. What is the difference between the manner in which the movement takes place in a sensitive plant and the movement in our legs? Differences in movement of sensitive plant and movement in our leg. Form a table, one side serial number, movement in sensitive plant, movement in leg. First point, movement in sensitive plant take place on shock or touch. Movement in leg take place on accord or heart desire or on necessity. Lack of specific tissue for conduction of information. Nerves take place, that is, nerves take message and go for the movement of leg. This movement is due to flaccid condition of parenchyma of pubis, bend and spreading of leg done by help of muscles. The movement present in sensitive plant is called thigmotropism. Movement in leg is called voluntary movement. Special proteins are not present in plant cells for movement. Special protein are found in muscle cells for movement.